Mother's heartwarming secret revealed. Billionaire's incredible test on wife changes everything. In the heart of Maplewood, laughter echoed through the streets like music. But for Lisa, that melody sometimes felt more like a reminder of her struggles. As a single mother of 2 active kids, she worked long hours as a waitress, balancing endless chores and her ailing mother's care. Each day was a dance among responsibilities, stretching her love thin as she whispered sweet lullabies over the anxiety of unpaid bills. Yet, despite the heaviness, Lisa filled their modest home with warmth and hope, a sanctuary of resilience even when the world outside seemed poised against them. Then came Jake, the billionaire with a smile that lit up the coldest rooms. His opulent mansion, a stark contrast to Lisa's humble home, sent ripples of curiosity and resentment through the neighborhood. But instead of retreating into a life of privilege, he chose to immerse himself in the community, the local parks, the high school football games, even the coffee shop gossip. This baffled everyone, including Lisa. During the kids' spontaneous playdates, their late-night conversations revealed dreams and burdens, nurse bills and scraped knees. Unbeknownst to her, Jake delighted in every word, captivated by Lisa's fierce spirit and unconditional love for her family. One clear night, fireflies danced in the air, a gentle warmth embracing their budding friendship. With laughter echoing in her heart, Lisa shared her worries about her mother's health. In an impulsive moment, Jake felt the pang of something missing in his life: raw honesty, real connection. That night, he made a choice driven by curiosity. He would join Lisa in her world. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Transformed into an everyday neighbor, Jake sought Lisa's help with simple tasks that quickly spiraled into chaotic adventures: lawn care gone wrong and frantic bake sales where his cookies looked more like lumps of dough than treats. Amidst the chaos, Lisa showed him a kindness he had never known. Her laughter, like a soothing balm, bridged the chasm between their worlds. Layers peeled back, revealing a deep bond forged through shared struggles. Yet, while Lisa embraced him, Jake found himself tangled in conflict, guilt gnawing at him like a shadow in sunlight. As their connection deepened, whispers swirled through Maplewood, and jealousy reared its head. What could he possibly see in someone like her? And as tensions rose, cracks began to show. One unguarded moment brought the truth crashing down, and betrayal sliced through the veil of their love like a jagged knife. Hearts shattered, prejudices flared, and self-doubt clouded their thoughts. In the very place where hope once bloomed, silence settled. The confrontations revealed the rawness of their stakes. Love hung on the edge of a knife, balance twisting precariously. Would Jake slip back into the gilded cage of his wealth, or could he embrace the gritty beauty of community, the essence of Lisa that stirred something inside him? The battle for their hearts and Maplewood was just beginning. Unanswered questions loomed. Could love endure when each ran on diverging paths? When dawn broke over Maplewood, the usual sounds of chirping birds felt unusually distant to Lisa. A heaviness filled her heart as she prepared breakfast, the smell of sizzling bacon mingling with her swirling thoughts. Could she face Jake after what had happened? As she served the kids their plates, she stole glances at the door, half expecting him to walk through, sharing the laughter that had once blended so seamlessly with her own. It was strange to feel so lost after a constellation of vibrant moments had drawn them together. The simple joys they shared seemed overshadowed by uncertainty. The kids, oblivious to the tides of adult complications, chatted animatedly about their plans for the day. Their laughter brightened the room, and for a brief moment, Lisa felt her worries lift. She had to be strong for them, she always had been. But her heart was torn, especially knowing Jake was at the center of her struggle. The specter of his wealth loomed large, tainting the bond they had woven so carefully. That afternoon, Curiosity tugged at her, and she decided to take a walk at the park where their paths had first crossed. The sun filtered through the trees, casting playful shadows on the ground. But even nature's beauty had a muted quality today. She felt the weight of scrutiny from passers-by as they whispered and pointed, the cruel judgments about her connection with Jake clawing at her insides. And then she spotted him. Jake stood by the swings, his back to her, a giant in the midst of ordinary life, a stark juxtaposition against the vibrant park. It was him, a community figure, a wealthy man, her friend. Could he ever belong in her world without dragging her into his? When he turned and their eyes met, a spark ignited. For a heartbeat, the harshness of reality melted away. But just as quickly as it came, doubt crashed over both of them like a tidal wave. "Lisa," he began, his voice tight, "I'm really sorry about what happened. I never wanted to hurt you." Her breath caught. An apology was a thread, but it still felt too thin to hold the weight of unspoken feelings. I didn't expect this to be complicated," she admitted, every word tinged with vulnerability. "You and me, it felt so real. But now it's like we're on two different sides of a fence." Jake stepped closer, the space between them electrified. "I need you to understand something. What you've opened my eyes to, it's been life-changing. But I'm scared, too. Scared of what it means for us." Lisa looked down, her fingers nervously tracing the edge of her shirt. "Maybe that's the problem, then. You're a billionaire, Jake. You live where I can't even step into. What if we aren't supposed to be together?" His frustration was palpable as he echoed her words, yet filled with a determination that sparked a flicker of hope in her chest. "I refuse to let money define us, define what we could be. You've shown me kindness. It's not something I'm just going to walk away from." At that moment, deeply conflicting emotions flooded Lisa's mind, but she also felt something else, a fierce flicker of hope. Could they find a way through the tangled mess life had thrown at them? Or would that hope be lost in the shadows of their differences? The air was thick with tension as they stood there, worlds colliding. Both grappling with answers they didn't yet have. Whether they could bridge the gulf loomed uncertain. It was a decision that felt monumental, tinged with fear but thick with possibility. Would they navigate around the fences or fall victim to the separation? As they stood there, the breeze shifting around them, a distant sound caught Lisa's attention, a shout, a commotion to the left of the playground. Before she could react, another shout pierced the air, and suddenly, their world shifted. "What was that?" she gasped, worry etching her features as she turned to Jake, who shared her concern, eyes widening. Unbeknownst to them, the answer to their questions was about to unfold in a way neither of them could have possibly prepared for. The park erupted into chaos, a cacophony of shouts and the rustle of running feet. Lisa's heart raced, instinctively turning toward the source of the noise. Children scurried away like startled birds, their faces painted with fear, while parents rushed to gather their kids, eyes darting in every direction. "Stay close," she called to her children, who stood wide-eyed, clutching each other's hands. Jake was already moving, his tall frame cutting through the crowd. "What's happening?" he shouted to an approaching parent, but the response was lost in the distance. He glanced back at Lisa, and in that fleeting moment, they shared an unspoken understanding to protect what mattered most. As they drew closer, the origin of the noise became clearer. A small group had gathered near the fountain. A child was on the ground, and panic swirled around them like a thick fog. Lisa pushed through the crowd, her nurse instincts kicking in. She needed to help. "Let me through. I'm a nurse," she called out, her voice steady despite the chaos. The crowd parted as she reached the edge of the small circle. A little boy, no older than 7, was lying there, his face scrunched in pain. A bike lay nearby, its front wheel still spinning slowly. Jake joined her, dropping to one knee. "What do you need?" he asked, his voice low and focused, suddenly shedding all traces of social status. Lisa's gaze met his for a split second, and she saw the concern etched on his face. His leg looks hurt, could be broken. She knelt beside the boy. "Hey buddy, can you tell me your name?" "Ben," he stammered, tears spilling from his eyes. "Okay. Ben." I'm here to help you. Can you wiggle your toes for me? Jake was already dialing for an ambulance, his breath even as he relayed the details. She could hear the faint sound of sirens approaching a lifeline amidst the chaos. As she soothed Ben, Lisa's attention bounced between the child and Jake. He was calm and collected, showing a side of him that felt like it had been hidden all along, buried beneath layers of wealth and expectation. The way he held his phone and knelt beside her struck a chord in her heart. Maybe he wasn't just a billionaire. Maybe he could also be part of her world. It's going to be okay, Ben, she said softly as she assessed his injury, keeping him focused on her voice. Help is coming. The boy nodded, his breathing shaky but gradually steadier, as she continued to distract him with gentle questions about his favorite superhero. As the sirens grew louder, Jake reached out, touching her shoulder. You're amazing, Lisa. You know that? She smiled at him, warmth spreading through her chest. I'm just doing what I can. But in that moment, beneath the chaos, something fundamental shifted between them. They were sharing a purpose, a unity that felt genuine. The ambulance arrived, paramedics rushing in with equipment. Lisa stepped back, letting them take over, but her heart remained tethered to the scene. The moment felt pivotal, a turning point where their worlds could finally start merging. But even as she felt the thrill of their bond, a nagging voice whispered at the back of her mind. Amidst this emotional revelation, the outside world of judgments and wealth loomed large. Jake turned to her, his eyes serious. You're incredible, Lisa. We need to talk after this. About everything. She nodded, but uncertainty nipped at her heels. Yeah, definitely, but what if let us not think about the what-ifs right now, he interrupted gently. We'll figure it out. Together. Could they truly come together despite the fences surrounding them? As the paramedics took Ben away, the crowd slowly dissipated, leaving Lisa and Jake standing alone beneath the fading sunlight. Then a sudden shout caught their attention. Is that your kid? Lisa whipped around, her heart dropping as she spotted her daughter slipping away, running toward the street. No, Mia! She screamed, instincts kicking in. Jake's eyes widened, and in a flash, both of them took off, racing towards the danger before them. What would happen next? Would they survive the ramifications of their reality, or would the chaos they were trying to escape consume them whole? Lisa's feet pounded against the pavement, adrenaline surging through her veins as she sprinted toward Mia. The world around her blurred into an indistinct haze, her heart hammering in her chest like a frantic drum. Mia! Stop! She shouted, the urgency in her voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. Jake was right beside her, his strides long and powerful as he edged ahead. She could barely keep up, her mind racing. What could possibly possess a child to run toward danger? Mia! Come back! Panic twisted in Lisa's gut, making it hard to breathe. She pushed herself harder, willing her legs to move faster, though each heartbeat felt like a drum echoing in her ears. Mia turned, glancing over her shoulder, her face a mix of confusion and innocent curiosity. Lisa's pulse quickened at the sight of her daughter, so small and vulnerable against the backdrop of the street. Mama! Mia cried, her voice sweet and high, and in that moment, all Lisa could think was how much she loved her, how fiercely she needed to protect her. Just as Mia reached the outskirts of the road, a car rounded the corner, engine roaring. Time slowed as Lisa's heart dropped. She could see the distracted driver, his eyes glued to his phone. The world narrowed to just her daughter, a solitary figure poised on the brink of disaster. No! Jake roared, the raw strength in his voice propelling Lisa forward. With every ounce of strength she could muster, Lisa lunged, hand reaching for her daughter just as the driver noticed, swerving frantically. In a heartbeat that felt like forever, she grasped Mia's wrist, yanking her back just in time. The car zoomed past, tires screeching on the asphalt, but they were safe. Lisa pulled her daughter into an embrace, relief flooding through her body. I've got you. You're okay. Tears spilled down her cheeks, partly from fright, partly from the overwhelming comfort of Mia's warm presence against her. No words were needed. The weight of what had just happened hung in the air around them. Jake stood a few feet away, breathing heavily, his eyes flickering between relief and unresolved tension. "You did it, Lisa," he murmured, awe coloring his tone. "You saved her." Mia wriggled free and looked up at her mother. "I just wanted to see the fountain better," she said innocently, her big eyes wide with wonder. Lisa couldn't even smile at the small reason. Her heart still pounded as she knelt and hugged Mia tight, squeezing as if her life depended on it. "Promise me you won't ever run off like that again. Okay?" "Okay, Mama," Mia replied, her voice muffled in Lisa's shoulder. The moment cocooned them in warmth, but Lisa's gaze flickered back to Jake, whose expression was a swirling mix of admiration and something deeper. A realization flickered in her mind: this world of privilege and chaos was slowly revealing hidden layers of strength and vulnerability. "After all this," he began softly, stepping closer, "there's something we need to talk about." Lisa nodded, the knot of uncertainty still tight in her stomach. She could sense the weight of questions looming in the space between them, shadows of truths untold. Just then, the distant wail of sirens echoed once more, breaking the moment's peace. The crowd that had dispersed moments ago now buzzed with whispered concerns, an unsettling reminder of the chaos still lurking just out of sight. "First, we need to make sure everyone is all right," Lisa insisted, glancing at the lingering parents before returning her gaze to Jake. "Then, we can talk." But as they turned back toward the park, the air became heavy with unspoken possibilities. Their lives had intertwined in ways they hadn't anticipated. But could they stand against the tides threatening to rip them apart? Before she could voice her thoughts, a loud crash resonated nearby, causing them both to jump in alarm. And as the crowd gasped, Lisa and Jake exchanged troubled glances, realizing their day was far from over. What new revelation awaited them in the unfolding chaos? Would they be able to face whatever came next together, or would this be the moment that would finally split them apart? The air was thick with tension as the noise from the park melded into a cacophony of confusion. The crowd was buzzing, whispers swirling like leaves in a storm. Lisa's mind raced, but she could barely process the frantic energy surrounding her. "Let us check it out," Jake suggested, his voice steady despite the tumult. He moved forward, pushing through the gathering observers, and Lisa followed, pulling Mia close to her side. She felt the weight of every gaze, the worry etched into every face. The crash had been loud. What had happened? As they approached, a small group had formed around a toppled vendor cart, skewed and spilling hot dogs onto the grass. Relief flooded through Lisa as she realized it wasn't something worse. The vendor, a middle-aged man, was picking up the fallen items, his hands shaking. There was no blood, no serious injuries. Jake stepped in to help the vendor, extending his hand. "You okay, sir?" His voice was calm, even in the chaos. Lisa knelt beside Mia, who was staring with wide eyes. "It's all right," Lisa reassured her. "Just a little accident." Still, her heart raced. It was a reminder that life could twist and turn in seconds, and they had just escaped one disaster. "Mama, can we get a hot dog?" Mia asked, her innocent curiosity slipping through the weight of the moment. Lisa smiled faintly and nodded. They would get one, but first she needed to make sure that Jake was all right. Jake was still talking to the vendor when Lisa approached. "You really saved the day back there," he said, glancing at her with that same mix of admiration and concern. I'm still processing everything," she admitted, feeling the weight of her emotions. "I get it," he replied softly, his gaze unwavering. "And about what I said earlier." Before he could finish, a sudden shout rang out from the back of the crowd. "Look out!" Panic surged anew. Lisa instinctively grabbed Mia and pulled her close, shielding her. Fear lanced through her. Not again, not after everything they had just faced. But as they turned to look, it was clear the commotion was simply a group of older kids chasing after a runaway soccer ball. The relief was palpable, and a nervous laugh escaped Lisa. "God, that scared me," she admitted, glancing at Jake. "Today has been too much. We need to regroup," he suggested. "Let us find a quiet spot to talk." "Yes," she agreed, her mouth dry, her heart still racing. As they moved away from the crowd, Lisa could feel the weight of unspoken words sitting heavy between them. On the one hand, relief washed over her at escaping immediate danger. On the other, there was a pressing sense of urgency about their conversation. What truths lurked just beneath the surface? Once they found a bench under the protective shade of a nearby tree, Lisa took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. So what did you want to talk about? Jake seemed pensive, his brow creasing slightly. It's just I've seen a lot of things today. Mia, it made me think. He paused, his hands clasped tightly together. Thinking can be dangerous, she joked lightly, but there was an edge to it. Inside, she was trembling, uncertain of what he might reveal. I'm serious, Lisa, he said, his tone deepening. We need to talk about how we handle things moving forward. What do you mean? She pressed, wary of his intent. I mean about us. About Mia. What it all means. Before she could respond, a flicker of doubt twisted inside her. Did he want to reshape their relationship? Was he afraid of the chaos? Or something deeper? Just then, the laughter of children from the park filled the air. But all Lisa could focus on was him, and the shadows of uncertainty that lay ahead. And in that moment, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, she felt the gravity of their situation shift. What was at stake would change everything they thought they knew. Would they be able to navigate through this newfound complexity together? Or was this just the beginning of a deeper fracture? The sun cast a golden hue over the park, the gentle sounds of laughter drifting through the air like music. Yet Lisa felt miles away from the joy surrounding her. Every beat of her heart echoed against the backdrop of Jake's words, creating a dissonance that made her want to leap from the bench and escape. Jake, what are you really saying? Her voice was barely above a whisper, thick with the weight of unspoken fears. Are you suggesting we know it's not just about that? He interrupted, his expression shifting from thoughtful to urgent. It's about our future, about what we want for Mia. He took a deep breath, clearly gathering his thoughts. Things can't stay the way they are. We can't keep pretending everything is fine when it isn't. Lisa's mind raced. She had become an expert at pretending. Every day was a careful balance, managing her emotions, her hopes, and the very real fears that lurked in the corners of her mind. But how do we even start? It feels impossible. We start by being honest with ourselves. And with each other, he said, his gaze holding her steady. No more running away from hard conversations. Today was a wake-up call. We need to make plans, not just for Mia but for us. Her heart ached at the thought of change. What would it mean for her? For Mia? What if the path we take doesn't lead us where we want to go? Jake reached out, his hand brushing against hers. The touch ignited something deep inside her, a flicker of hope mixed with fear. It's not about the destination, Lisa. It's about how we get there together. His words hung in the air, compelling yet elusive. What did together really mean anymore? The laughter of children faded into a distant echo as the weight of his declaration settled heavily between them. Mia's joyful shout broke through the fog, and they turned to see her running toward them, face flushed with excitement. Mom, look what I found. She held up a sparkly rock, its surface glimmering under the afternoon sun. For a moment, Lisa's heart swelled with love, and anxiety melted just enough for clarity to break through. That's beautiful, sweetheart, she said, smiling brightly. Jake watched the girl with a soft smile that reached his eyes. She makes it worth it, doesn't she? Of course, Lisa replied, but a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. It wasn't just about Mia. It was about everything that had led them here, the walls they built around their hearts. Let us promise each other something, Jake said, drawing her focus back to him, his tone earnest. Whatever happens, we don't give up. We fight for what we have, for Mia. A part of her wanted to resist, to deny the possibility of a fight, of opening the doors she had closed tightly. But she could see in his eyes the reflection of her struggle. Okay, promise. The words slipped out, filled with uncertainty but also resolve. Mia skipped back, her laughter dancing between them, and for a moment, it felt like they could be whole again. But lurking just behind that moment of hope was the nagging reminder of the chaos they had just witnessed. What other challenges awaited them? Could they truly navigate the complexities of their relationship without falling apart? As they stood together, the sun dipping lower in the sky, a sense of urgency gripped Lisa. They were at a crossroads, but which path would they choose? And as the thought settled, a chill ran down her spine. What if the truths were too heavy to bear? The laughter of the park seemed to fade once more as Lisa pondered their next step. Would honesty truly pave the way, or would it lead them to an even deeper fracture? The laughter of children faded into a faint memory, the park now feeling like an echo chamber of her doubts. Lisa clutched the delicate rock Mia had found, the rough edges unexpectedly grounding against her palm. It was a small thing, yet it somehow held the weight of promises and reassurances. Jake shifted closer, his shoulder brushing against hers, and the warmth of his presence offered a flicker of comfort. He began, his voice soft, "You don't have to keep pretending." "Not with me." Her throat felt tight. She wanted to believe him. "What if I can't bear it anymore, Jake? What if the truth is something I can't handle?" He took a slow breath, letting the moment settle like the breeze that danced through the trees. "Then we face it together. We can't let fear dictate our lives." "Not anymore." She turned to him, searching his gaze for signs of wavering conviction. Instead, she found a steadfastness that steadied her shaky heart. "What do you think will change? Really? It's been like this for so long. Can we truly transform everything?" Jake leaned back, crossing his arms, a gesture laced with thought. "Change is never easy, but it's necessary. For us, for Mia. Picture a future where we're united, where she sees us as a strong family, rather than one strung together on threads of silence and denial. We owe her that much." Mia danced around them, engrossed in her imagination, the sparkly rock now an odyssey of adventure. Just watching her leap and spin, radiant as the sun dipped lower, summoned warmth in Lisa's chest. Family. The word hung there, tantalizing and terrifying. What would it take to build the foundation they needed? Suddenly, Mia came charging back, eyes alive with excitement. "Mom! Jake! Can we get ice cream, please?" The innocence in her request carved through Lisa's melancholy, and she smiled down at her daughter. "Sure thing, sweetheart. How about chocolate tops with sprinkles?" "Yes." Mia bounced up and down, the picture of pure joy. As she turned to Jake, she caught a glimpse of his softened expression. Maybe, just maybe, this was the first step toward that future. She felt the tug of hope within her, despite the uncertainty still lingering in the air. Maybe like that sparkly rock, they could find beauty in the rough. "Okay, Jake," she said, the resolve softening her voice. "We'll try, but let us promise to talk. To really talk." He nodded, relief washing over him. "Promise, Lisa." Mia clasped both their hands, pulling them toward the ice cream stand, oblivious to the silent agreement forged between her parents. The sun had dipped lower, casting long silhouettes over the pavement. It felt like they were walking into a new chapter, the path ahead still murky but a flicker of light guiding them. As they stepped into the small ice cream shop, laughter and chatter enveloped them like a warm hug. The scent of waffle cones filled the air, mixing with sugary sweetness. Lisa noticed a couple at a table nearby, their faces drawn tight with emotion but softened by a moment of laughter over 2 scoops of mint chip. A moment of connection that felt transient, yet somehow profound. It struck her that everyone carried a weight, a secret story. As they ordered, the conversation flowed easily, laughter spilling more freely. It was the distraction they needed, something to draw them away from the tidal wave of thoughts crashing against the shore of their hearts. But the reassurance was superficial. What lurked beneath the surface? Could they really share what lay hidden, or would the attempt only deepen the jagged cracks? Mia's joyful squeals cut through her worries, but just as quickly, the niggling fear resurfaced. What if opening up shattered their already fragile world? The thrill of ice cream faded. All that remained was the uncertainty of the next conversation. Together, they had to confront not just who they were but who they could become. And she wondered, would they find each other in the honesty, or would it tear them apart? Mia's laughter echoed behind her, a reminder of everything at stake. The weight of the future, loomed larger, pressing against her chest as they turned toward the door. Lisa took a deep breath. Was this truly the start of something new, or only the beginning of heartbreak? As the door swung open, a frantic figure rushed past them, muttering something that made Lisa's heart skip. She could barely catch the words, but one stood out stark and clear. Help! What had just begun to transform could so easily spiral into chaos. Lisa's mind raced as she instinctively turned toward the frantic figure. It was a young woman, eyes wide with panic. She barely glanced at them, her focus on something or someone behind her. Help! Please! The woman gasped again, desperation clear in her voice. Jake instinctively shielded Lisa and Mia with his body, concern etched on his face. What's wrong? He called out, trying to steady the woman's trembling. The laughter from the ice cream shop faded into an ominous murmur, all eyes drawn to the unfolding drama. There's a kid, she exclaimed, breathless. He fell into the pond, he can't swim. Her words barely registered as Lisa's heart dropped. The park had always been Mia's favorite, and they had always been so careful. How had this happened? Mia tugged at Lisa's hand, her little voice trembling. Mom, what is happening? Not wanting to scare her daughter, Lisa knelt down, squeezing Mia's shoulders gently. Stay close, sweetheart. We need to stay safe for now. Let us go, Jake said, determination in his eyes as he started toward the pond. He glanced back, urging Lisa with a steady gaze. We can't just stand here. Every second counts. The path felt longer than it ever had. Lisa's heart raced, not only from fear for the child but also from the weight of the decision settling over her like a dense fog. This was a moment that revealed everything: their ongoing struggles, the unspoken truths and the hesitations that lingered in the air. The scene became chaotic as they approached the pond, the frightened mother pleading with a small crowd gathered at the water's edge. A few people were already stripping off their shoes, ready to jump in. Is anyone a lifeguard? Someone yelled, panic rising in their voice. I can swim, a young man shouted, already diving in despite a lack of response. His body sliced through the water like a bullet, kicking hard as he searched for the submerged figure. Lisa's breath caught in her throat, her heart pounding in rhythm with the splashes around her. She exchanged a glance with Jake, who looked equally troubled but resolute. If we're going to dig into our truths, it starts now, he said quietly, his eyes fierce. We have to teach Mia about bravery, about helping others. Lisa nodded, the shared moment igniting a sense of purpose within her. This was bigger than just them. It was about showing Mia compassion, about instilling a sense of community. But the reality of attending to their own needs felt imminent. What would follow when they returned home? Suddenly, the young man surfaced, gripping a small boy in his arms, pale and struggling to breathe. Someone screamed, but Lisa couldn't make out the words through the pounding in her ears. The crowd surged forward, reaching out to pull them both safely to shore. As they reached solid ground, the boy coughed violently, water gushing from his mouth, while the mother scooped him up into her arms. Relief spread across her face, mingled with tears. The stranger who saved him stood by, shivering but proud, eyes sparkling with adrenaline. Mia, wide-eyed, had been quietly observing, her little mind racing to process the scene unfolding before her. Lisa slipped an arm around her daughter. See how important it is to help? Just as Mia began to speak, a loud shout pierced the air, originating from a figure in the distance. A man, leaning against a tree, clutched a phone as he spoke furiously to someone on the line. You have no idea what you've put us through. The sudden tension pulled at Lisa's heart. Who was he talking to? What secrets lay behind those sharp words? Had something happened that they weren't aware of? The atmosphere shifted, leaving an electric sensation in the air. Everyone around them had been so focused on the child, but now another storm threatened on the horizon. With her heart racing, Lisa looked at Jake, who met her gaze with the same intensity of questions lingering unspoken. The world had shifted beneath their feet once again, and they were left grappling with the shadows lurking just beyond their sight. Would they find the courage to step into the light, Or would they drown in the secrets that threatened to pull them under? An uneasy silence enveloped the park as the man's voice echoed through the air, slicing through the tension like a knife. Lisa felt the disturbance deep in her gut. The urgency of the moment at the pond faded, replaced by the weight of an unshakable curiosity. Who was this man? Why did he seem so distressed? Jake turned toward the sound, his brow furrowing as he took a step closer. "What's going on?" he murmured, his protective instincts flaring again. Lisa felt a spark of panic rising within her, memories of their past flooding back like a storm. They had both been running from their own issues for so long, both external and within. The young woman who had first alerted them seemed to feel it too, casting worried glances between the man and the crowd that had gathered. Lisa pulled Mia closer, whispering again, "Stay close, honey. We're okay." But she could feel her daughter's tension, her little body rigid with unease. "Move aside, please." The shout came from a paramedic rushing through the crowd, his equipment bumping against his body. He had a determined air about him, the kind of person who could bring order to chaos. As he knelt beside the boy and the relieved mother, Lisa fought the trembling in her legs, wanting to help but feeling so small against the turmoil of voices swirling around them. Then the man by the tree took a step forward, raising his phone high. "I said you don't understand." His eyes blazed with an emotion that read panic mixed with anger. "This was supposed to be over. You don't know what you've done. Do you think this is about you?" A voice from the crowd shot back, dripping with judgment. "A child almost drowned, and you're worried about your own problems?" The man fell silent, his expression flickering between rage and a deep sorrow, as if the weight of his own life had just hit him. Lisa felt her heart drop with him and glanced at Jake, whose eyes narrowed in concern. Something was very wrong here, and the few who were brave enough now to ask questions were bringing it all to light. "Maybe we should go," Jake suggested quietly, guiding Lisa and Mia away from the crowd. "This isn't safe." But Lisa hesitated. A part of her wanted to retreat, to shield Mia from the uncertainties, but another part yearned for clarity. "No, wait. I can't just leave," she said, her voice quivering with emotional urgency. "What if he needs help too?" There was a sharpness to her statement, one cultivated from years of feeling helpless when all she wanted was to intervene and do something good. Jake frowned, torn. "Do you really think you can help him?" Look at the chaos. A soft tug on Lisa's arm pulled her from her thoughts. Mia looked up at her with wide eyes, whispering, "Mama, I scared." With a soft sigh, Lisa knelt down, smoothing Mia's hair reassuringly. "I know, sweetheart, but sometimes when people are hurting they act out. It doesn't mean they don't need us." As she spoke, the reality of her own turmoil flashed before her, the need for healing, the unbroken silence in their family about the struggles they faced every day. Just then, a woman from the crowd shouted again, "Someone needs to call the police. He might be dangerous." Lisa's heart raced. What did he do? The man's shoulders stiffened as he took a step closer to the unfolding scene. "Dangerous? No, you're wrong. I just..." Confusion reigned as Lisa's pulse quickened. She felt compelled to know more, to unravel this man's story, torn between her instincts to protect Mia and a budding sense of understanding about the man's pain. The air thickened with tension. Secrets swirled like leaves in a storm, and Lisa felt the pull of curiosity stronger than fear. She turned to Jake, glancing from the man back to their daughter. "What if his story can change everything for us?" With the stakes rising, Lisa's path diverged dangerously ahead. The moment demanded bravery, not just from her, but from all of them. Could they rise to the occasion, or were they too ensnared in their own struggles to reach out? In the midst of chaos, she realized, sometimes in order to understand one's burden, you must first confront your own. And as they stood there, the uncertain future loomed. What would be revealed next? The chaos of the park felt like a tempest, swirling emotions rising like waves about to crash. Lisa held Mia close, her heart racing. She knew they couldn't go back to the solace of their ice cream and laughter. Not now. The uncertainty of this man's distress pulled at her, urging her to step closer, even as the crowd murmured with suspicion. Maybe he's in trouble, she whispered to Jake, her voice trembling. Or he could make it worse, Jake replied, his brow furrowed with worry. But she could see the conflict in his eyes. He wanted to protect her and Mia just as fiercely as he wanted to do the right thing. Mama, I'm scared, Mia said, her small hand trembling in Lisa's grip. Me too, honey, Lisa whispered, kneeling to meet her daughter's eyes. But we have to be brave. Sometimes that means helping others. Remember what we learned. Just then, the man began to shout again. I didn't mean for this to happen. His voice cracked, filled with a sorrow that felt like a plea, as though he were desperate for understanding, for someone to listen. The crowd's energy shifted, uncertainty filling the space where judgment had once pulsated. Lisa glanced back at Jake. What if this is about more than just today? About understanding pain and healing? Jake hesitated, and in that instant, she saw the flicker of compassion in him. You really want to do this? More than anything, she replied, her voice steady. I think he just wants someone to hear him. Instinct, born from years of care as a nurse, fueled her determination. This man was a complicated knot of emotion, just like her. Mama, please don't go too close, Mia pleaded. I'll be right here, Lisa assured her, squeezing her daughter's hand reassuringly. With a deep breath, Lisa pushed through the crowd, her heart thudding in her chest as she approached the man. She couldn't ignore the weight of his despair. It resonated within her own struggles, each echo striking a chord of familiarity. Sir, she called out gently, I know you're upset. Can you tell us what's going on? The man's gaze darted toward her, eyes wild with desperation. You don't understand. My son, his voice faltered, breaking under the weight of his emotions. He's in trouble. I've been trying to reach him. I never wanted things to go this way. You have to believe me. The sincerity in his eyes struck her like a lightning bolt. A father burdened, scared, desperate for help. She took another step closer, urging the crowd to give him space. We're listening. It's okay. You're not alone. As the crowd quieted, Jake joined her side, a silent support standing sturdy beside her. It was a moment of connection, a reminder that they were united in seeking understanding. Then, the man began to speak, and each word was a trembling thread unraveling a deeper truth. I lost my job. Things spiraled. I thought I could handle it, but I didn't. My son was angry and scared. I never meant for him to feel that way. Now his voice broke, tears spilling down his cheeks. The weight of his turmoil hung heavy in the air, forming a bond of shared humanity that few in the crowd grasped. Lisa met Jake's gaze, a shared understanding passing between them. Their struggles, her fears of inadequacy as a mother, and Jake's barriers built from privilege felt so interconnected in this moment. Can we help you? Lisa asked, her heart open to his pain. Do you want to talk to someone? As if struck by light, the man's eyes met hers, a flicker of hope igniting. You'd really help? We all need help sometimes, Jake chimed in, his voice steady. None of us are above it. The man nodded, clearly overwhelmed but slowly recognizing the collective support surrounding him. Lisa could feel the shift begin. What had once seemed like chaos transformed into understanding, compassion rising like a beacon in the dark. In that moment, she felt a weight lift from her own heart. It was no longer just about her and Jake. It was a shared journey, a chance to forge connections that mattered deeply. No pretense, no more running away from their truths or the communities that needed them. Mama, Mia called, peering through the crowd, her wide eyes fixed on the unfolding scene. Can I come too? Lisa felt a swell of pride, her daughter's innocence and desire to help shining brighter than anything else. Yes, sweetheart, come here. Mia ran to her side, wrapping her small arms around Lisa's waist. The man looked down at Mia, then back at Lisa, gratitude mingling with the burden of his sorrow. Thank you for being kind, for listening. Jake's hand rested on Lisa's shoulder, a steady encouragement. We're all in this together. You've shown us your heart. Let us lean on each other. The crowd, initially simmering with judgment, now turned into a collective community. Some pulled out their phones, ready to call for resources to support the man and his son. Others shared their own stories of struggle, creating a tapestry of resilience woven through courage. As the sirens in the distance grew near, the palpable energy felt like the dawn breaking through the night. Lisa realized they were all part of something bigger. By acknowledging their vulnerabilities, they built connections stronger than any wealth or status. "I can take you to the authorities," Lisa offered the man gently. "They can help you and your son." With a nod, the man resigned himself to the possibility of seeking assistance, the light of understanding creating a pathway through the uncertainty. Mia looked up at Lisa, her innocent eyes sparkling. "Mom, we helped." "Yes, we did," Lisa said, bending down to kiss her daughter's forehead. In that moment, she felt light, connected to Jake, to Mia, and to every stranger around them. She exhaled deeply, her doubts fading like shadows. As they stood together, surrounded by a city of hearts weaving their truths, they knew life was messy, but it was also beautiful. They had taken incremental steps toward healing, both for themselves and for others, revealing that love and understanding could flourish amidst chaos. Whether it was the spark of humanity igniting around them or the whispers of the universe guiding their paths, Lisa felt ready to embrace the next chapter with hope. As dusk fell over Maplewood, they turned toward home, a newfound strength rippling beneath their heartbeats. "This is just the beginning," Jake said, squeezing Lisa's hand, his eyes bright with promise. Together, Lisa replied, their journey continuing under the blanket of the starlit sky. There was so much left to discover. The road ahead may still hold challenges, but they would face it all together. As hope shimmered on the horizon, Lisa knew that the laughter of children, the warmth of love, and the strength of community united could conquer anything life threw their way. Now was the moment life awaited them, full of new adventures, and they were ready to embrace it. And remember, if you've enjoyed the story, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share these incredible moments with your friends. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. This is the moment to show your support for stories that matter. Let us keep spreading our journey.